Disney, a brainwashing kids cult, or a magical fantasy land that all of us 90s and 2000s kids grew up on? Which it is, I'll let you guys decide. As many of you guys may know, I am a Disney party princess. That is my job and I adore it so freaking much. But as we all know, in 2023, actually it's 2024 now, in 2024, Disney has become woke. And that is the understatement of the century. I don't think you need to go further than looking at all of the recent movies that Disney has released and now will not release, like Snow White, because of their leftist woke agendas that are ruining the magic that Walt Disney, at least in my opinion, wanted this company to envision. Everything from The Little Mermaid to Snow White to all their outer space adventures and Toy Story with Buzz Lightyear, they've all completely flopped. And why is that? I personally think it's because they've lost touch with the magic and the spark that we all know and love. From Beauty and the Beast to Lady and the Tramp to Finding Nemo, these were stories that literally were a tale as old as time. And I personally can't really let go of the magic and the youth and the wonder that this company held on to for so many years. The 100th anniversary was just a few weeks ago, and so today we are going to be reacting to the fall of modern Disney, narrated by Walt Disney himself. Now listen, I'm not arguing the Pizzagate, the pedophilia, the woke questionable agendas when it comes to the old stuff. Yeah, there are weird things in there, but the movies that I watched, Rapunzel and Merida and Queen Elsa, I love those, and I will not apologize for it. But I will also say Wish and The Little Mermaid and Snow White and the Seven Magical Creatures definitely have fallen very, very, very far from their original path. So, you know what? Let's just get straight into this today and react to Walt Disney narrating the fall of modern Disney.
Good evening, friends. You know, I founded this company, way back now in 1923. If you find people would indulge me, I'd like to fondly imagine what it might look like on its 100th anniversary in the distant year 2023. I'd give anything to be there with you.
He's dead.
This seems to be one of those times I'm tied down here at the studio night and day. And incidentally, I have a handkerchief ready. It's a
think this all started with
and romantic
Mortimer
notion,
Mouse
I
and Oswald
suppose,
the
but I
Rabbit.
dream of superheroes running around wearing brightly colored spandex. I hope that by 2023 my Disney studio will produce a new Snow White, a very special kind of motion picture.
Oh, they butchered
one of
it.
which we're very proud.
You're not
will
proud.
Deconstruct the old fairy tale with romantic notions being shunted aside and Snow White's dwarves being replaced by magical people in flaky socio-cultural prevailing attitudes.
Oh, this
And
isn't Walt
the
Disney.
message. Well, I suppose you can't
Is this
blame
an
a
AI voice?
fond old man for dreaming. The wholesome family values and romance that have stood as a cornerstone of my company will, I can only hope,
Okay.
be jettisoned
If you guys
in
didn't
favor
see that
of
little short film,
characters
this
who
one
are
right here,
strangely,
that was beautiful.
sexless,
That made me so
who,
happy.
Don't become involved in relationships. It's my fervent wish that the indulgent writers of these characters assemble a film that alienates great swathes of the nation and ultimately sucks balls to such an extent that it loses my company $250 million. Why, it is
Walt!
my most cherished hope that a new version of the beloved Little Mermaid, a real Disney favorite, will include a musical number by a squawking, spluttering woman who sounds like she is mentally deranged.
Aquafina.
A song that sucks so much ass it were if the torture suction device affixed to the eyes in Saw X had instead been attached to society's collective rectum and placed on
I thought this
turbo,
was actually going to be
causing
Walt
a
Disney,
catastrophic colonic hemorrhage.
a recording of
In
him.
the far-off times, decades hence, I would be delighted if my Disney company produced a kids' flick featuring a first non-binary character to instill in
What?
impressionable boys and girls the charming notion that they too could embrace the idea of being non-binary and gender fluid.
Pause,
My
just
hope-
just right here for like 2 seconds. Okay, so the movie Elementals, it came out last year, I think, and the premise of this movie is that this flame named Ember falls in love with this ocean water man named Wade, and it's basically an enemies to lovers trope, and what I gathered from it is that like the Chinese, not the Chinese, the fire people are based off of Chinese Americans, and then Wade and the water people are based off of like white Caucasian people. Anyway, I really actually thought that that movie was super cute, and it was just a cute little love story. Yeah, there were a few innuendos about, you know, oppression and culture wars and being an immigrant, but you know what? Honestly, overall, that was a super cute little movie. I didn't realize that one of the characters was non-binary. I don't remember that. I don't think they made an innuendo about that. If they did, it completely went over my head. So, whatever. But let's continue listening to an AI version of Walt. I feel lied to right now. I thought this was actually going to be Walt.
Would be that my company would herald the studio's 100th anniversary celebration by ditching the wholesome, earnest family values and trademark charm in favor of a hopelessly complex and abstract premise with a tangle of other in-universe rules destined to bore and confuse little children and falling flat at the box office. I envisage my company overseeing a space adventure film franchise that gets spun off into so many movies and shows. It sinks to the level of including a gargantuan, fat-assed, flute-playing R&B singer who has a reputation for haranguing and fat-shaming her backup dancers.
Whoa, okay, so I will not take dissing on the original George Lucas Star Wars franchise. I am a Marvel and Star Wars fanatic. Marvel completely went off the trails, and honestly, their originals were okay, but starting in the 2010s, like, they went off the rails. And so I kind of, like, stopped loving Marvel. But Star Wars, the original, the Clone Wars, I mean, freaking Anakin Skywalker, Hayden Christensen, like just Ian McGregor, just let me have that nice memory of them just in my head. Okay, yes, The Mandalorian went off with freaking having Jack Black, and Jack Black is amazing. Like, freaking Peaches and the Mario Brothers movie was phenomenal, but did they have to bring Lizzo in there? Like, no. One thing that I appreciated about George Lucas and the original trilogy and a little bit into like the prequels is that they were hiring actors from Hollywood that were not as well known. And maybe Star Wars ended up being like that big stepping stone and projecting them into being an A-list actor. But in general, Star Wars chose a lot of like no-name people. And it worked out in their favor because no one had any like pre-decided, like conjured in their mind ideas of who these people were. So they were completely free to fill the slate of all of these amazing characters in this. Now in 2024, Star Wars kind of sucks. The Mandalorian went off. Book of Boba Fett started off so strong, and then they brought in the freaking Skittles motorcycle gang bunch that just reminded me of like a weird version of a Hot Topic outfit. Like, if they sold those, you know, like little purple motorcycles that you can get at like Walmart, the little Kiki bikes, and then like decorated with cheap Hot Topic stuff, that is what they basically did. And I'm really annoyed at it. But you know what? Side note onto that, the Kenobi series, I mean, getting to see Hayden and Ian back together again. So just, anyway, moving on.
Fingers crossed that in the future my theme park might include a Star Cruiser hotel that will require decent folk to shell out thousands of dollars to have the simulated experience of being human trafficked by being ushered
Didn't it
into
shut
a
down?
final
Yeah,
van,
it shut down.
which is ostensibly a space shuttle, and
I would've
taken
done that, though,
to their
if I was
small
rich.
windowless bedroom in a hotel. In keeping with the time-honored verities of my company, I can only hope that a future film version of the beloved Peter Pan will feature Wendy punching Peter out like a bitch. Or my company's vision to be...
Okay, side note on the Wendy and Peter Pan thing. They did not need to redo it because the Peter Pan movie that had freaking Robin Williams in it, that was so good. And then they remade it a few years ago, back in like 2015, and they called it Pan, which that one was okay. I don't really think it was necessary to do it, but like the costuming was sort of cool and the trampoline stuff, and then the flying pirate ship thing was kind of cool, and the fact that the pirates were kidnapping the orphans to like work in the mine, that was a pretty interesting take on it. But this Peter Pan that came out, what was that, 2022? Was it last year? I think it was last year. It feels like a distant memory. Like, it's no longer Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, it's Peter Pan and the Children, and they don't even have cool costumes anymore. And, like, Neverland looks like a basic B coastline in Europe. Like, there was nothing whimsical about it. There was nothing magical. Like, the storyline was weird. Like, I don't even freaking care that they color casted certain people to pander to a marginalized people of color group. I freaking don't care anymore. Like, cast whoever the heck you want. Just make them a good actor. Give me a storyline. But they kind of just casted just A, B, C, D, E, F list actors, and it just was weird, and there was nothing magical about it, and it was just sad, to be honest. Like,
brought to fruition.
Pause, though. One thing that I thought was kind of funny is when Peter Pan, in that one movie, when Peter Pan asked Wendy, what's a kiss? Instead of, you know, Wendy, like the original, being like, oh, I'll give you one. Instead of doing that, she was like, sewing box. A thimble. Yeah.
In distant years hence, I would envision the pointless resurrection of a show about a valiant little person used as a vehicle for Los Angeles scriptwriters to flaunt the sexual awakening of a ginger-haired girl under the seduction of a plucky established lesbian. And the two of them lesbianizing as irrepressible lesbites in lesbicious fashion, while a narrative about spells and quests progresses in tandem without overshadowing the lesbotic tendencies of the Scissor Sisters, whose coupling provides a romantic and optimistic core to the story. My, oh my, what a wonderful future lies in wait. What I started way back in 1923 is bound to receive its greatest realization and apotheosis a century on in the distant future of 2023.
Yeah.
One thing I can be sure of. The custodians of Disney in the future will take the values that I hold dear and express them in wholesome, engaging, and above all, original films and shows the whole world is bound to love.
Okay, we're going back to this right here. So this was AntMan Into the Quantum Verse. This one was I don't remember what they called it. Something about it's not Temple of Doom was the old one. That's literally the only one I could think of right now. I don't remember what they called that one, but we all know him. We all love him. He's a little old to be jumping off of roofs, but you know what? Whatever. And then this obviously is Wade from Elementals. I didn't think Ant-Man and the Quantumverse was that bad. I did watch that, and I did enjoy it. But to be honest, like I said, Marvel has completely satirized their market just to the point of where nobody cares. If they had waited and they weren't pushing out garbage 24/7, I actually think that would have been a pretty popular movie. But they're just pushing things out just left and right, just trying to squeeze us of every penny that we got, that just nobody cares. I remember when Infinity War and Endgame came out. I mean, it was such a big deal. I went to go see Endgame 7 times in theaters, and every single time in the theater it was packed. People were enthusiastic. Everyone was stoked. The screams, the gasps, the freaking out in the theater because of the character, the plot, or just whatever had happened. It was just an amazing feeling being in those theaters, and especially with the whole years apart from Infinity War to the Endgame, and we got nothing in between. Literally, we didn't get a single taste or drop of anything. We were starving. But now they're pushing everything out, and it's just nobody cares. I didn't even see Ant-Man and the Quantumverse until it came out on Disney Plus, and even then it was just oh well. And then obviously Indiana Jones, I liked the old ones. They were adventure movies. I remember watching that with my family, on a movie night with my dad, and it being really, really cool and just action-packed. But this one, I don't know. It felt like it was just grasping at strings. You know how, when a storyline, there's, so many different points where you're okay, it could end here. No. It could end here. No. It could end. And they just, keep drawing it out. And at some point, you're kind of do you guys have any other ideas? Or are you just trying to, revamp what has already been done? Elementals, I'll actually defend that. I said that earlier. I'll do it again. I actually thought Elementals was pretty cool. It was a cute movie about fire and water being in love. it was just cute and cheesy. And I don't know why it did as bad as it did. I think it was because they kept advertising Claude, which is this little, he's a dirt element. And he's in love with Ember, who's the fire female protagonist in this movie. And they kept advertising him and not really like Wade and Ember. I don't know. I thought Claude was hilarious. He's like a dorky guy. Like he grew flowers out of his armpit and he was like, "For you, my queen." And she just like lights him on fire.
I'd give anything to be there with you.
Oh, that was it. Oh, freaking well. Disney, Disney, Disney. Whatever are we gonna do? There we go. There's the famous Disney logo. I don't know, y'all. What do you think about this? Because I'm still on the bandwagon that the magic from the originals is still there. And I can still watch those and not be, you know, totally disgusted by what they're doing these days. But their new stuff, like, I have not seen Wish. It looks cheesy. It looks disgusting. The 2D animation in the back with the 3D people is just dumb to me. It looks unfinished. And their music is so horrible. Like, the song that the king sings, just like, we have so many amazing, like, power villain ballads from everything from Lion King to The Little Mermaid to just, and that's what, I let you live here for free and I don't even charge you rent is one of the lines from that song. Like, Disney, I don't know if this is what Walt Disney had intended you guys to become, and I'm not sure if he is turning over in his grave or turning over in his cryo-frozen tank that apparently sits atop this tower right up here in Cinderella's castle, but whatever. What do you guys think in the comments? Comment down below what y'all's favorite Disney movie was, as well as what you would do if you could change the direction of the entire Disney company across the board today. I think my favorite movie is going to have to be Tangled because, you know what? I love me some Eugene Fitzherbert and Rapunzel. But you know what? That's just me. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll see y'all later.